Alice decides to take a break from her long-term college boyfriend, Josh. She feels that she hasn't had the chance to experience life on her own and wants to figure out who she is outside of a relationship. To start fresh, Alice moves to New York City, where she takes a job as a paralegal. She moves in with her older sister, Meg, an OB/GYN who has always been independent and uninterested in relationships or having children. Meg has built her life around her career and enjoys her freedom, believing that she doesn't need anyone else to complete her. At her new job, Alice meets Robin, her outgoing and energetic coworker. Robin is wild, loves to party, and lives her life without any rules. She encourages Alice to embrace her newfound single status and start enjoying life. Robin teaches Alice how to have fun, let loose, and engage in casual relationships without getting emotionally involved. At the same time, Alice meets Tom, a bartender who openly admits he is not interested in commitment. Tom is content living the bachelor lifestyle and spends his time hooking up with different women. He avoids relationships at all costs and has no plans to settle down. One day, a woman named Lucy comes into Tom's bar to use the free internet. Lucy is very focused on finding her perfect partner and spends most of her time on dating apps, analyzing every detail to ensure she meets the one. Tom finds Lucy's approach amusing but doesn't take it seriously, as he doesn't believe in her idea of soulmates. Meanwhile, Alice confides in Tom about her struggles with being single. She admits that she has always been in a relationship and feels lost now that she is on her own. Tom advises her to embrace being single by getting rid of anything that reminds her of relationships and learning to enjoy her own company. Feeling more confident, Alice decides to meet with Josh to tell him that she is ready to end their break and get back together. However, Josh tells her that he has moved on and is now dating someone else. Alice is heartbroken and realizes that she has to let go of her past and focus on herself. At the same time, Meg begins to reconsider her stance on having children. After years of avoiding the idea of motherhood, she decides to have a baby on her own through a sperm donor. Shortly after finding out that her IVF treatment was successful, Meg meets Ken, a younger man who is kind, funny, and genuinely interested in her. The two start dating, but Meg chooses to keep her pregnancy a secret from Ken, unsure of how he would react. As Alice becomes closer to Robin, their wild partying starts to create chaos in Meg's apartment. Unable to handle the constant disruptions, Meg asks Alice to move out. Although upset, Alice understands and decides to find her own place. She starts looking for an apartment and eventually finds one that allows her to live independently for the first time in her life. Through her experiences in New York, Alice begins to discover who she is outside of a relationship. She learns to enjoy her independence while navigating the ups and downs of being single in a big city. Meg, too, starts to open up to new possibilities as she balances her pregnancy and her relationship with Ken. Both sisters take steps toward finding happiness on their own terms, supported by the colorful people around them. Back at Tom's bar, Lucy struggles with a series of bad dates she finds through her dating apps. Each meeting leaves her increasingly frustrated as she realizes none of the men match her idea of the one. Tom quietly observes her struggles and begins to see Lucy in a different light. Despite his initial skepticism about relationships, he starts to develop feelings for her. However, he doesn't act on them, unsure of how to approach someone who is so determined to find her perfect match. Meanwhile, Alice is still struggling with her feelings for Josh. Even though she knows he has moved on, she can't help but dwell on their past. Her sister, Meg, encourages her to focus on her own happiness instead of clinging to what's gone. Inspired to take a step forward, Alice decides to attend a Wesleyan alumni networking event. At the event, she meets a charming man named David, who is a single father. The two hit it off, and Alice begins to feel hopeful about the possibility of moving on from Josh. Lucy, on the other hand, has started dating a man named Paul. After just 3 weeks, she feels optimistic about their relationship and believes she might have found what she's been looking for. One day, Lucy goes to Grand Central Station to see Paul off as he leaves on a train trip. To her shock, Paul reveals that he has been seeing other people, assuming she was doing the same. He casually ends their relationship, leaving Lucy devastated. Heartbroken and emotionally drained, Lucy breaks down during her volunteer job reading stories to children at a bookstore. George, a kind and understanding employee at the bookstore, notices her distress and comforts her. His warmth and humor help her feel better, and the two start spending more time together. Their connection grows naturally, and Lucy begins a new relationship with George, finding a sense of comfort and stability she hadn't experienced before. Meanwhile, Tom struggles with his feelings for Lucy, unsure whether he should reveal them now that she seems happy with George. The lives of these friends and family members begin to intertwine as they navigate the challenges of love, heartbreak, and self-discovery in New York City. Alice and Robin attend Josh's winter holiday party together. However, as Alice watches Josh with his new girlfriend, she feels overwhelmed and realizes she can't handle seeing him happy with someone else. Feeling upset, Alice leaves the party and walks alone through the city. While wandering, she runs into David, who offers to show her a private view of the Rockefeller Christmas tree. The dazzling sight lifts her spirits, and Alice is touched by David's thoughtfulness. She thanks him, and their connection deepens, leading to the start of their relationship. 3 months later, Alice spends more time with David and his young daughter, Phoebe. During one visit, Alice sings with Phoebe, but David suddenly becomes upset. He sternly reminds Alice that she isn't Phoebe's mother, making it clear that there are boundaries in their relationship. Hurt by his reaction, Alice realizes that their relationship isn't working, and the two decide to break up. On St. Patrick's Day, Alice unexpectedly runs into Josh and his parents while out in the city. Josh seems pleasantly surprised to see her, sparking a mix of emotions in Alice's old feelings resurface. Tom, who struggles with his feelings for her. He invites Alice to drink with him as a way to cope with their mutual frustrations, Alice's lingering feelings for Josh and Tom's unspoken love for Lucy. As the two share their frustrations, they end up drinking too much and sleeping together in an attempt to distract themselves from their emotional pain. The impulsive decision leaves both of them questioning their actions the next morning. Meanwhile, Ken discovers that Meg is pregnant, a secret she had been keeping from him. Instead of being upset, Ken is overjoyed and tells Meg he wants to help raise her child. However, Meg doubts whether Ken is truly committed to her or if he's simply caught up in the excitement of the moment. Unwilling to take any chances with her future or her baby, Meg decides to end their relationship, leaving Ken heartbroken. At Alice's birthday party, Robin secretly invites Tom, David, and Josh without Alice knowing. When Alice sees all 3 men from her past in one place, she feels overwhelmed and shaken. Frustrated, she confronts Robin, and the two have a heated argument about boundaries and how Robin's antics sometimes cross the line. Meanwhile, Tom decides to leave the party to confess his feelings to Lucy. However, before he can get the words out, Lucy happily announces that she is now engaged to George. Heartbroken, Tom hides his disappointment and congratulates her. Back at the party, Alice escapes the chaos by sitting alone on the fire escape. She is soon joined by Josh, and the two reminisce about their past relationship. In a moment of weakness, they kiss passionately. However, Alice quickly pulls away when Josh reveals that he is now engaged and was only looking for closure. Horrified by the situation, Alice realizes that she needs to move forward with her life and focus on herself rather than looking for fulfillment in others. Feeling invigorated and determined to find herself, Alice decides to leave the party and go home. As she gets into a cab, the car suddenly halts as Robin jumps onto the windshield, dramatically stopping the cab. Robin had intentionally done this to get a cab for Meg, who has gone into labor. Alice and Robin help Meg into the cab and rush her to the hospital. At the hospital, Meg successfully delivers her baby, surrounded by her loved ones. Ken arrives soon after, and despite their earlier breakup, he reassures Meg of his genuine love and commitment. Touched by his words, Meg decides to give their relationship another chance. While at the hospital, Alice takes the opportunity to mend her friendship with Robin. The two reconcile, and Robin apologizes for her actions, showing that beneath her wild personality, she truly cares about Alice. As the story concludes, Alice reflects on her journey of self-discovery and what it means to be truly independent. She realizes how much she has grown during her time living alone and navigating life as a single woman. The film closes with glimpses of the characters' lives moving forward. Tom, alone in his apartment, fixes his plumbing, which he had deliberately cut to prevent hungover women from lingering after one-night stands. Meg and Ken are happily playing with their newborn baby, embracing their new life together. Robin, true to her nature, continues to party and enjoy her carefree lifestyle. The final scene shows Alice hiking through the Grand Canyon by herself. She sits in awe, watching the sunrise on New Year's Day, fulfilling a lifelong dream she had always wanted to experience alone. For the first time, Alice feels content with who she is and excited about her future.